All right, Sean Lang here with Pro Wrestling Enforcer Podcast, and we are in Villa Park, Illinois. Here at, where are we at? Carlos, tell us.
This is the Galli, you want to call this the training area, the training room?
Okay.
The Galli training room.
Great.
Yeah, we're different. It's in the same building as I'm going to call it now the Galli Studios. We're not going to call it Galli Arena anymore.
Okay.
So we can build up to an arena.
Definitely, definitely. And Carlos Galli, of course, is joining me here on the show. Galli Lucha Libre, which has been around, for quite some time.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys have put on so many great shows over the past couple decades. Just talk about when you reflect of all the great events that you've been putting on.
Well, I mean, over the last 4 years, we've done a lot of stuff with like international talent. Mm-hmm. We focused on local talent for a long time, for about 6 years. I don't know if you want me to tell you the story. I stopped working with the guys in Mexico for a while just because of the attitude is just. Yeah. I couldn't deal with divas. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I was good, like just guys coming in. My thing is, I don't care how big of a star you are. If you're in the locker room, you treat everybody the same.
Right.
So that was the situation, but actually I like to bring this story up. The first time I brought a guy in from Mexico, after almost like 4 or 5 years, it was Penta. And I expected a diva or something, and he was like the coolest guy in the world. Mm-hmm. He worked our guys, he was really cool, and then that basically took off on everything. Then Messias came in, then Phoenix came in, and it got to the point where I got into a good relationship with all, like a good group of, luckily some of the top stars. Right. And up-and-coming stars, and we've gotten a good relationship, so that led to us just like evolving into, just almost on a monthly basis, you'll see some of the top stars working some of the Galli guys, like our top guys, which, it shows that the talent is here. I mean, they were working guys like Penta came in. When Penta came in, Mustafa Ali was still here. Mm-hmm. He got to work on me. Like, you go back, and he was basically he's like, that guy's fucking good. Like, yeah. So that was before Ali was in WWE. He worked GPA, he worked Marche Rocket. Like, they've been, when guys like that come in and compliment your guys, it feels really good. Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what else I could tell you. I mean, that's where we're at right now. I mean, mm-hmm. One of the things is, the fact that we have a good relationship has allowed us to do events that most people couldn't. Just, we just had, we did our anniversary and our Galli Mania back to back because we didn't have an anniversary because of the pandemic. And I mean, to bring in guys like Messias, Drago, Aerostar, Aeroboy, Mecha Wolf, it was really cool, considering we're not even allowed to have that many fans, Sure. But we did our first pay-per-view, so that offset a little bit. I mean, sponsors are helping. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's a work in progress. People think you can just start a company and get sponsors. No, this is taking years of work and having a good reputation.
For sure, and that's one thing I noticed about Galli. You guys have a great reputation with the neighborhood, with the community. Talk about that, because you got some hardcore fans and just the support you get. Oh
yeah, I mean, we have a group of fans. If we ran every Sunday, they'd be here. I mean, we've gotten to that point where we're lucky to have that following. As far as locally, I mean, to be honest with you, we got kicked out of Villa Park over 10 years ago. And I always want to say, a shout out to Senator Cullerton, who brought us back to Villa Park 8 years ago. And ever since then, we've been able to have our own building and run. That's one of the things that helps us out that a lot of companies don't have, and I'm grateful for that. Mm-hmm. That we have our own building that we can pretty much, if we have to cancel a show, okay, well then we'll run next week. Right. That's the difference. And it was years of hard work to get to that point, but luckily we have that right now. I mean, we're grateful to have that. Yeah, we have our own training place in the same building. We have with our studio, because I mean, we used to have the arena right here in the mall, but that evolved into something else. And but luckily, the 5-Star Swap Mart, I mean, we're 100% appreciative, because they're the ones who've been letting us run these shows for the last 8 years now. Wow. Yeah, we've been around almost 14, but we've been here 8, actually going on 8.5 now.
Definitely, and you guys, talk about obviously with Galli Lucha Libre during this time. You had to take a long break. Probably not natural, right?
No, that killed us. I mean, the people that know us, we don't run like once a month or every 3 months. We run 2 or 3 times a month. And in the summer, that actually picks up because we do festivals. We lost, I want to say 8 festivals because of the pandemic, plus 10 regular shows. So that was 18 shows we didn't run. Most companies don't run 18 shows all year. Right. I mean, I hope nobody takes it like I'm bragging or I'm putting it like, that's just the reality, that's what killed us. I mean, we had a show, our last show, we were allowed, we only had 30 fans and the family, so it was like more of a private show.
Right.
And I mean, that's what we're trying to keep going, at least keep it streaming. January, knock on wood, hopefully they'll let us have fans. If not, we're probably still going to run the show with no fans.
Okay.
I'm against that. I don't really like it. I watched Triple Mania last night for AAA, and not having the fan interaction, it's not the same thing. I mean, your commentators really better be good when you got no fans.
And that's true, and that was Kenny Omega was in the main event.
Right, yeah, against Laredo Kid. The match was really good. Yeah. Actually, the show overall was pretty good. I don't know who they used for the Marvel characters. I don't know if you heard about that. They have a deal with Marvel. They made some Marvel characters.
Oh, nice.
It was probably one of the best matches tonight, but we don't know. Nobody knows who they are. It was pretty much a spin-off of Captain America, Spider-Man, Venom, and I don't know who the other one was. I couldn't figure out what character he's supposed to be, because it's weird why they didn't use the actual names, considering Marvel approved it. But you can tell it was like a spin-off of Spider-Man and all those guys. But I don't know who the other guy was, but that was really entertaining match. I'd like to know who the wrestlers were, because they were good.
Nice.
Yeah. But that was really, it was a pretty good show. I just, not having fans is, you know, even us, if we run a show with streaming, we'll probably have the family there just to make noise.
Right.
You got to have that. You know, one of the things I've always told the fans is, you're part of the show. The only problem is sometimes fans think they are the show.
Yeah.
You know, that's when it gets a little crazy.
It is. It is. Yeah.
You're a big part of the show, but you're not the show. Once you want to be louder than the wrestler, something's screwed up.
Right.
That's just my take on it.
Well, I mean, you just don't want the show to get carried away by the fans. You know, we've seen that happen before.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, if you're louder, if I can't hear the wrestler's music, you're going overboard.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
And then talk about the next event. You know, you've got Psychosis who signed up, as well as your regulars at Galli Lucha.
Well, actually, that'll be Psychosis' first. I actually met him years ago through our coach Discovery, but I never booked him. So this will be the first time he actually wrestles in a Galli ring. He's actually trained with the guys before, a few years ago. But it came about. We started talking. And it's like, we got this event coming up. He's going to be at the show. Arrow Boy's from Mexico, but like everybody sees him as a regular Galli guy now, because he's here like every month. The guy's just a great person and great relationship, and I gotta put it this way, I got a great deal with him. A lot of guys, you know, they'll criticize Galli like, oh, Galli doesn't pay these guys as much as everybody else. Okay, you got to take it this way, and I'm gonna say it here, and I'm probably gonna say it on my own podcast because I've been getting crap about it. Okay, if I'm gonna give you 3 dates, let's just use round numbers at $100, or I'm gonna offer you 20 dates at 50 on a platform that people are gonna see you and get you more bookings, you're gonna take the 20. So don't come here and tell me you're running one show a year and expect to pay the same thing a guy that runs 30 shows a year.
Right.
You know, that's just common sense. But that's my perspective of it. Because I get a lot of crap about it. Oh, you know, most companies pay more than you. Okay, yeah, most companies runs 1/3 of the shows we run. It's a matter of you want to stay busy and be on a platform. And you know what I say is, look, if the guys are here, they're happy.
Right.
Who's ever not happy, just leave. There's nothing, no hard feelings. If it gets to the point where I need you that bad, I'll let you know.
True.
Yeah.
And then talk about, you know, back in the early days, you know, how Galli Lucha Libre came about. I mean, you originally were trained in boxing.
Oh, yeah.
And the same gym, the Lucha Libre wrestlers were coming in and training.
No, what happened was I don't know if I told you the story before, but I became a wrestling promoter by accident.
Right.
I'm just a fan. What happened was I opened a boxing gym in 2006.
Okay.
And we were running a show, and we're right here in the mall, Chinese buffet, who actually just closed after like 30 years. I actually just noticed it closed. The pandemic's killing everybody. But anyway, we used to be on the other side of the Chinese buffet inside the mall. And the first ring I ever bought was an old wrestling ring. But I bought it for boxing. It actually had no bounce to it or nothing, so it was perfect for boxing. And an old veteran lucha guy by the name of Máscara de Jade was eating at the buffet and saw the ring. So he literally walked across the mall and he asked me, he's like, I know that ring, it's the wrestling ring, da-da-da, you know. He's like, would you rent me space to train guys? I'm like, all right. To me, it was just extra money, and I was a fan of wrestling my whole life. One thing led to another. We're having a boxing exhibition one day, and one of the referees from Chicago was actually my cousin, and he's like, why don't you have a couple wrestling matches? Like, I don't know anybody. He's like, all right, just, like, I'll get a couple matches together, just as, you know, exhibition. And that day when they showed up, I was expecting maybe, you know, 6 to 8 guys to show up and have a couple matches. When I walked into the boxing gym, there was 18 wrestlers that showed up to help with an exhibition. Among those guys was actually Gringo Loco, you know, everybody knows him in the Chicagoland area. Samurai, who's now Kallisto. And then right after the exhibition, they're like, have you ever thought about promoting? I'm like, no, that's not my thing. I do boxing. And they're like, why don't you try it? Tried it one time on June 1st, 2007, and we haven't stopped since.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how I became a promoter. It was by accident. Somebody offered to do some, like, not exhibitions, but have a couple matches on a boxing exhibition show. And the fact that our ring was actually a wrestling ring kind of helped. That's basically what happened. And then how Galli started us out as straight up Mexican Lucha Libre. How that evolved was the same thing, exact same thing happened. A couple guy by the name of Ryan Garza was eating at the buffet and saw the ring and came over and asked me if I ever rented a ring space, which I didn't know anything about that other than the guys that came in on the weekends. I said, well, I mean, you guys can have it Saturday and Sunday after 11 in the morning or whatever. And the next day, that's when he brought over James Russo, who runs Freelance Underground now. He came over and they told me about this project they had about training guys, and came in. They showed up with another like 14 guys that wanted to train. So what happened was Tony Scarpone and Bryce Benjamin started training those guys, and then he asked me if he could start putting like American wrestling on the Galli shows. What happened there was like, oh, you know, these guys are pretty good. What if we start mixing this? Because this is kind of what I did as a kid. I was a big fan of both styles.
Right.
As a 10, 12-year-old, I would play around with Hulk Hogan wrestling Canek and guys like that, like mixing, oh, I can do this in real life now. And that's how Galli actually became. To this day, I tell people, I got guys that actually like think they shit on me because they say, oh, Galli's not Mexican wrestling. No, it's not. Galli is legitimate international wrestling because we have all styles. If you go to our locker room now, we were making a joke about that, like how with the Puerto Ricans invaded, like we went from 2 to 12 in like a 3-month span. And like now it's like now Mexicans are minorities. So it's a little backstage joke we had going.
Sure.
One of the things about Galli, we don't care whether you're white, Mexican, black, Puerto Rican. If you can wrestle and people like you, you're going to be on a show. That's the way I look at it. Definitely. It's a little harder. You have to be able to, how do you call it? You have to be able to play to the Latino crowd because, like it or not, no matter what we do, we can bring in, I don't know, a random name, Austin Arias, and we won't draw the American crowd for whatever reason. They don't want to, I don't know if they don't want to see him. I mean, I don't mean to sing, that's the guy that came to my head.
Right.
But I mean, we've experimented with it. I brought in Jerry Lynn when he was one of the like Ring of Honor guys. We didn't draw the extra crowd. It was still our crowd, our regular Latino fans. I'm not gonna say we didn't draw extra people, but it's not, like it or not, you're basically working for a Latino crowd, and like 80% of the crowd pretty much. And the other people that come is because they like the lucha environment. It's a little different, you know. I'll go to a freelance show and the crowd is different. You can go to a Galli show, the crowd is different. But that's one of the things. One of the things with Galli, it's not Mexican wrestling. I call it international wrestling, not to say, oh, we're fucking international. No, because we actually incorporate all the styles.
Definitely. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And you've had, guys like Michael Elgin, come through,
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Michael Elgin knows how to play to our crowd.
Yes.
Gringo, I mean, I don't know, like, when I said the first American to wrestle, I never count Gringo because he's just been part of Lucha since I met him.
Right.
But actually, the first guy to actually wrestle on a Galli card with American wrestling, he's known as Mason Conrad now. At the time, he had a different gimmick, but he was the first one with this other kid. His name was Insomnia. I think that's the name he was using on Freelance Underground. He stopped wrestling, but those were the first 2 guys that ever wrestled like American style on a Galli show. But I want to take that back. Actually, Steve Boz, Isaiah Velasquez, Jordan Pride, and Mark Titan were on a couple of shows before that. But these were the guys that actually made it start becoming something more of a mixed show. I always tell people the Lucha Underground was a spinoff of Galli Underground from 2008.
Right.
Because that's when we started the whole deal. I'm not going to take credit for the idea because actually the guys who brought Underground to me were James and Tony Scarpone.
Okay.
And we incorporated into the Galli show, and it was Galli versus Underground.
Yeah.
And if people ever see the videos from back then and you look at the fonts from the Underground banner and everything, it's a Lucha Underground fonts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's just a little backstory on how they basically took our idea and put money into it.
Oh, man.
And if I ever get sued for that, I got the videos to prove it. You can actually find videos of Galli versus Underground from 2008.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, in 2008, we really changed the style. I'm going to be honest with you. When Galli started, like, I was excited because I was a Lucha fan and a wrestling fan. But once I got in, even me as the owner, but I had guys around me that to this day, I don't think they know how to run a company, but I was listening to them. Galli shows were boring. They were 4-hour shows, 5 matches, 2 out of 3 falls, with some of the guys didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And I'm allowed to swear, right?
That's fine.
And I mean, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I wasted a lot of money learning.
Right.
But then when we started incorporating different guys, I always give a lot of credit to Mecha Wolf Hammett. I call him still Hammett because he was 450 Hammett for years in Chicago. Because he came to a Galli show and pretty much, I say to him joking, I get along really good. He's like, you basically forced yourself on a Galli show. But he came in one day with his stuff and he said, I'm here to work. I said, I don't have a spot for you. I always tell these people the story because he's actually one of the ones, between Bryce Benjamin and Tony Scarpone and their group and Mecha Wolf, they basically turned Galli into a hybrid style. Because he came in and said, I want to work. I said, there's no spot for you. He's like, just give me a shot. Oh, I say this, like, I legitimately say this. Luckily, this old Lucha veteran didn't show up because he was offended for his spot on the card. So he didn't show up. So guess who gets the spot? Mecha Wolf. So he comes on the card, and then he's like, these guys I want you to meet, Noriega and Ivelisse. They're in Chicago, we're working down the street. So I go to a show. So that night I met Noriega, I met Ivelisse, I met Mustafa Ali, Marche Rocket. I already knew Jazz. Willie from back then, I think they were still War. I don't know if they were CSW yet. But making a long story short, I literally invited all of them because I love the way they work.
Right.
And most of them worked on Galli for almost like 10 years. And that's how Galli kind of evolved from Mexican wrestling to like a mix, a hybrid. That's the story. Between Bryce and Tony Scarpone having students at the school and bringing them in, and Mecha Wolf inviting me to the CSW show, like all those guys started pouring in. Then we started working with guys like Lince Dorado, Helios, who's now Ricochet, DJ Z.
Yeah.
I want to say Shima. I met him as Shima, so to this day I call him Shima. I started like noticing like all these other guys from outside. I always thank Bryce for that because he's the one who told me, like, there's a lot of indie wrestling. I didn't realize how much wrestling there was in Chicago. Yeah. I had no idea about indie wrestling until they told me about it. I think he invited me to an AAW show once. Okay. And then I started going to CSW and started watching other guys, and I was like, okay, I don't care what race you are. If you're good, I'm going to invite you. That was my concept. That I take credit for because that's where I'm like, now let's start mixing the styles. Sure. And you know what? Alberto Del Rio, even though he's in deep shit right now, I was a big fan of his. He said it best when, like, a lot of people in Mexico always say, oh, Mexican wrestling is the best wrestling in the world, Lucha Libre. He said it best, like, there's no such thing as the best wrestling in the world right now, it's the best wrestlers. The best wrestlers are the ones that can adapt to every style. Right. And I actually agree with that. If you're an American guy and you can't wrestle a Lucha guy, I'm sorry, you're not the best. If you're a Lucha guy and you can't wrestle an American guy, you're not the best. Right. Yeah, one of the best guys at doing it, and he doesn't work for Galli anymore, is like Bryce. Because he can switch on and off from one style to another. And I'm not saying he's the only one, but a lot of the guys can do it. Now a lot of the guys do it. But he was one of the first ones that actually said, okay, let me work the Lucha guys. Let me do this. Awesome. And Charlie actually, Gringo, he can work everybody. Yeah.
And he's also doing big things with the Major League Wrestling as well.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to Mexico too.
Well, he gets a lot of AAA bookings in Tijuana. The pandemic killed him because he was like, I know.
Oh, I know.
He was getting into like the big groove. See, one of the things I have a really good relationship, even when DJZ was here, he was considered a Galli guy, but he's already an international guy. So the thing is, he was living in Chicago. His thing was, okay, I'm in Galli, but if I get a big booking, that's my concept. Use Galli as a platform, but once if you get a call from MLW, AAA, like all these companies that are gonna give you big time exposure, go for it. Like my thing is like, you drop my booking to go to a fucking company that's got 20 fans in the crowd because you think it's cool, and that's where that's where I have a conflict. A lot of people are like, you had conflicts with wrestlers. Well, nobody knows what happens behind closed doors. Right. And everybody's got a story to it. Maybe to him it was a big deal.
For sure. And then, moving forward, who would you like to bring in that you haven't yet? Guys that like to work the Mexican crowd. You have like Sam Adonis come to mind.
It's actually, what, you brought him up. We're already in conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam Adonis, we're already in conversations. I had never gotten to see him work until I went to Warrior. I think I ran into you at that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was impressed. He wanted to do the Trump gimmick, but I'm against it. You know what? When in Mexico it works big. That's what I told him because
that's how it got big in Mexico.
Yeah, it works big because the people that live in Mexico know about the Trump thing, but it's not. They're not living it. So it's like to them it's like a big part of the show. If you do it here, it becomes a little racial. Right. Because a lot of people took it to heart. So that's why one of the things, if you ever come to a Galli show, I might have, like I said, we have like 12 Puerto Ricans. I won't make it a Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Right. Because I won't allow that because then it becomes racial. Right. And some people take it to heart too bad. It's like goes beyond. In Mexico it works because they know it's like a show thing. They take it to heart and it's like more, how do you call it? The fans believe more in it, but at the same time they know like, okay, they weren't here to say like, you live over there. It's like me trying to say, it's me like taking to heart what happens in Mexico. I don't live there. Like right now it's a big deal because of the presidents and stuff. It's like, yeah, but I don't live there. It doesn't affect me. Right. And that's the way I look at it. And that's what I told him. And I said, you're talented enough not to have to do the Trump thing. With Gringo, it's a little different because from day one, his whole gimmick was like anti-lucha. Yes. And people take it as a show now. They know it's not like, even when he comes out and sings to the illegals and he throws tortillas, it's been part of his show way before any of this stuff happened. That's what a lot of people don't think. I hate to say it, when Gringo does it, it's part of the show. Right. When somebody else does it, it becomes racial. Right. Just because he was incorporated. He did it way before anybody.
Anyone else you'd like to bring in?
Actually, a lot of people don't. A lot of people know, and a lot of people didn't know because we never got to the card. Our main event for Galli Mania was supposed to be LA Park versus Messias, versus Mil Muertes, which has never been done in the U.S. Oh, wow. But with the way things happen and we were limited on fans, I talked to LA Park. He was really cool about it. I've never worked with him, but he was really cool. He's like, whenever you're ready, the date is ready, just let me know and I'll be there. Because him and his sons were going to come in. Okay. That's one of the big names that's coming in. To be honest with you, is there somebody in particular? I'm more on the up and coming guys now. Because I think we brought in the big names that I wanted to bring in. Sure. I mean, Mystico's been here, or the original Sin Cara, the CMLL guys. We did the Galli versus Underground show, Lucha Underground, which I think we've kind of done everything I wanted to do as far as bringing guys in. Now I want to focus more on the up and coming guys. Like last show we had Addis. Aramis is becoming a regular. Some of the IWRGs, this kid Dragonbane is amazing. There's another kid, I think he's 18 or 19, his name's Commander, but he does stuff I never seen. It's like, even Phoenix was like, when he's talking about Aramis, he's like, that guy's like my son. Yeah. Like, cause that's how, that's awesome. And I'm more of a fan of doing that. I'm still a fan of Lucha Libre, but I'm not, I don't get excited and I always tell people I should probably take pictures with the guys because when I get older, it'll be cool to remember. Yeah. Not like just to show off. But it's the funny thing is, I don't have any pictures with anybody. I think we took a picture with the belts with some of the guys at the last show. Okay. But that was like my first picture with any of the wrestlers in years. I have a picture with Fenix because the photographer took it. I was standing next to him. But I legitimately never take pictures with any of the guys that come in. And now, like, I think about it, like, I should have.
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably never see Penta again. I'll probably never see Fenix again. Yeah. Like,
You
see, the
know.
thing, all the guys I wanted to bring in, we kind of already brought in. But a lot of them are signed, so I can't use them anymore. Like Flamita, Bandido, Rey Odos. Another guy I wanted to bring was Rush, and he signed with Ring of Honor. Their Ring of Honor guys aren't allowed to go to the Indies unless you go through Ring of Honor, and then it's out of our budget. But I mean, as far as bringing guys in, I really don't have. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm trying to focus more on up and coming guys. We're going to be working with some of the IWRG guys.
Well, Impact Wrestling, they allow you to.
Yeah. Brian Cage, I'd like to bring in. We actually had a deal to bring him in. We were going to do Galli Underground 2, and he was going to be one of the guys. I forgot what happened. It might have been the pandemic. Something happened where we ended up canceling the show when we were going to do the Galli Underground 2. It was supposed to be, at that show, it was Drago Aerostar, Mil Muertes, it was supposed to be Brian Cage, and I forgot somebody else we were talking with. I think Thunder Rosa, because she played the Snake, the leader of the Snake guys.
Okay.
I forget what, Cobra Moon. I forgot her.
Yeah,
So that was the idea of Galli Underground 2, but it never happened. And then, you know, finally Underground finally died. So so that buzz is kind of, it's not gone because like the characters are still, like Mil Muertes still draws.
Right.
You know, everybody knows it's Mesias. Like one time we had Mil Muertes come in, and I actually put Mil Muertes and Mesias, and I actually said to fans, how do you want to see him? That was the purpose of having both pictures. And some idiot marked like, oh, you're trying to see us like we're idiots. It's the same guy. I'm like, everybody knows Mesias is Mil Muertes.
Right.
Like read the fine print. It actually said, how would you like to see him? But you're always going to have that, you know.
Sure.
You know, I got to a point where I really don't care if somebody doesn't like the way we do things.
Definitely. And then moving forward, you know, Galli Lucha Libre now on Fight TV, you know, talk about how exciting that is. So with the production-wise, they have to bring their own equipment in, right, for you to...
No, actually, we're doing our own production. And I want to thank LMD Media. What happened was, we've been trying to get on Fight for a while, but they require you to have 3 cameras. The most we've ever done was 2 cameras.
Right.
Rewind over to the summer when we started running outside shows at Cairo Pizza. There's a guy by the name, our play-by-play guy now is Tico Fernandez. Tico Fernandez is the voice of the Chicago Fire.
Oh, nice.
So he's like the big voice in soccer. But I worked with him like 10 years ago. But I never approached him because I figured, well, you know, he does the Chicago Fire. Funny thing is, he approached me. He's like, I want to do stuff with wrestling. I'm like, really? Okay. So we finally came to an agreement. Then it turns out his wife runs, I didn't know how, I don't know how to do the 4 cameras and stuff, or I don't have the system. She's like, oh, we have a system with the 4 cameras and I can run it. I'm like, cool.
Nice.
So we did it, we tried it. It took, our deal was we're going to experiment a couple of shows because she never did wrestling before. If you never did wrestling before, you really don't know where the cameras should be, like what camera you should go to and stuff. So the first show was a little rough. That was one-on-one with Mecha Wolf and Bandolero. It wasn't bad, but there was some spots where, like, and now I always blame myself because I should have sat with her for a couple matches so she got to hang on where everything goes. So by the time we got to the Fight TV deal, well, actually, I called Fight TV and said, look, now I got 4 cameras. Can we do stuff? They're like, yeah, perfect. So that's how we ended up on Fight TV. And bringing MLD Video was a big deal because now we're doing like we're kind of making it look like an actual studio. We have a banner with all our sponsors. The wrestlers come out, they do after ring interviews. Right. I've always wanted to do the concept NWA does. Back since the TNA days at Universal Studios. You know, it's like we don't have the capacity to have thousands of people, but maybe we can have a little warehouse with 200-300 people.
Sure.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're finally to that point where now it's looking like a studio. And having, like, he just has that, like, radio voice, so it brings something else. And the kid who's learning with him, his name's David, we couldn't get him to talk. Now that he's working with Tico, we can't get him to shut up. It's just a little joke, because we couldn't get him because he was so nervous about talking, but I guess Tico made him feel comfortable, so now we're at the point where we actually have the play-by-play. We want to add, Fight TV offered to let us have English play-by-play. and we were having Henry and Noel. I don't know the guys from what's their podcast? I'm gonna lose it right now. Two Guys in a Heel or something? No, it's
Two Face in a Heel.
Yeah,
right?
is that him? Wait, what's theirs? No, they're gonna kill me for not remembering. Noel and Henry, they're great fans, and like they asked me, like I asked them to do. They do great work for the English commentating. Unfortunately, Fight TV wanted Spanish to start out with, but they offered to have both. So we're hoping to have both. Not trying to be WWE where we have English and Spanish, but we have the following in both languages. But that's how Fight TV came about. And to me, it was a big deal because I've been wanting to get on Fight TV for years.
Yeah.
And just, this morning I actually had a conversation with them. Our regular shows are probably going on Fight TV.
Oh, nice.
Like, if not the January one, probably by February, we're going to try and build an audience on Fight TV to build towards the big pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we're planning a big show in March.
Okay.
And then if we can go back to normal running, our 500 show should be coming in 2021. So whatever that date is, we expect it to be a big show. I was hoping by anniversary. If we wouldn't have had the pandemic, 500 would have landed right around the 14th anniversary. So we would have been able. It would have been perfect. The 14th anniversary and 500 show, but that didn't work out. So now we're gonna just play it by ear and see where it ends up. I'm thinking it's gonna end up like being Galli Mania 2021. It'll be the 500 show.
Okay.
That's what we're shooting for.
And you guys used to just put it on Facebook Live, so it's a big step up.
Well, the thing is, we were trying to do YouTube, but for some reason, we can't get the following on YouTube that we want.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea, the last show on Facebook Live is at 7,000 views right now. And on YouTube, I mean, I don't know why we just get even if I share it on Facebook, our views really don't, I guess people don't want to click the extra button, I don't know. And just by being on Facebook Live, we get a lot more views.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, we're probably going to work both angles. We're going to try to do a little more pay-per-views, but at the same time, to be honest with you, it affects the sponsorships. The sponsors want to see views. They don't care if you're on. I could be on HBO, but if I don't have the views, they don't.
Right.
It doesn't help the sponsors, especially locally. So we're going to work both angles. We're going to be on Fight TV and Facebook. So we kind of get on their fan base, and we continue with our fan base.
And then tell about plans for the summer. Would you like to do outdoor venues if you can't do indoor venues with fans? Like similar like the Warrior Wrestling did, where they did on a football field. You could do like the same thing.
Well, we did, I'm trying to remember if we did 3 or 4 shows. It's called Cairo Pizza in West Chicago.
Okay.
They were allowing us 100 fans, and the guys were great. So as long as the doors are open over there, we're going to go run over there. In the summer, that's the idea. I'll be honest with you, indoor shows in the summer are a bad idea. Even us, as much as we run, once summer hits, we only run once a month in the summer because there's so much to do. Especially if you get close to Chicago, it's like, especially for the Hispanics, there's like a festival every weekend. It's free. That's why we're part of like some of the festivals. We're part of Mole de Mayo. We do Taco Fest. We did one last year called Broken English. What's the other one? Our big one of the year is Ravinia. It's the last one of the year in September.
Oh, nice.
We're part of Tamale Fest in Rockford. So we stay busy during the summer. But the whole plan is to do most outside. The cool thing is West Chicago's close enough where we can run outside, and if they're calling for rain, we just move it to our building. That's the plan for the summer. So we'll see how that goes. But those guys at Cairo Pizza were amazing. It's funny, one of their DJs came to a Galli show, I guess, in the past, and he called me up. He's like, would you consider running your shows outside at Cairo? I'm like, this fell in my lap. We had nowhere to run. I don't remember if we did 3 or 4. He wanted us to run in October, and I said no. It's like, we ran on September 19th, I think. It was already cold. It wasn't freezing cold, but if you got to sit out there, like the fans that don't move and stuff, it gets cold. For the wrestlers, it's okay. Right. But definitely going to be doing outside shows.
Okay, we're looking
especially if the pandemic continues.
Yeah, that would be a safe bet. Would you like to do like a soccer stadium, just to see if you could get more fans there?
Well, the thing is, it's really tough because I think about it, like I saw Warrior shows, it's cool, you had 500 fans, but when they're that spread out, can you really tell the difference? It's like, and is it worth the risk? Because to do it on a baseball field, you know, like the Warrior, my hat's off to them, but like I think the guy's a principal of the school or something, so I'm pretty sure he gets a pretty good deal on the field. But for me to come in and run a field, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be that cheap.
Right.
That's why, like, you gotta, you know, to bring in like bigger names to attract 400 or 500 people, the risk against the reward is kind of tough to do.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, our Galli Mania originally, we were planning on the Odeum, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. We figured, okay, even at 25%, the Odeum holds 5,000, so 25% is 1,000. Mm-hmm. But you know, nothing worked out. I don't think it worked out for anybody in 2020.
And then, you know, I have to go back to, you know, some of the names that you could possibly bring in. You know, like people that were working for a big promotion or like WWE that let go. Like any chance that you might want to just, you know, bring them in just to, you know, gain more fans to come in for that show. Like Tessa Blanchard, Daga, even if they wouldn't wrestle, just to
well, Daga's been here.
Yeah.
But I mean, Daga and Tessa I would bring in. I'm gonna say it openly. I'm not a WWE fan.
Right.
So I mean, to be honest with you, I watch the guys that I met, and I'm like, I get excited to watch them on the big. But some of the other guys, I honestly don't think they would attract people at Galli.
Sure.
Because it's just a different style, and one of the things that I think about that we've been able to develop that's really good. We have our regular wrestling fans that watch everything. But I'm not gonna lie to you. We have fans that basically met wrestling because they came to the mall or they saw a Lucha Libre poster and they came, and to them what they watch is Galli. I mean, which is cool. But if we bring in, we've tried, like I told you, back a few years ago, I was a big Petey Williams fan when the TNA days. When they dropped them, we brought them in. We were one of the first ones to bring them in as an indie. That was before, I think TNA was a little more exclusive. I don't know how it happened. We drew a little bit of extra fans, but we didn't draw. It was more of me being a fan and bringing them in. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I don't know if I see anybody out there. I tried to get the Young Bucks to do a run-in once, but that didn't work out. Yeah. But right now, I don't know. Like on the indie scene, nobody really comes to mind.
Okay.
Daga's really good. I plan on working with him. I have a really good relationship with the Tijuana guys. Mega Wolf lives in Tijuana.
Right.
Daga lives in Tijuana. All those guys live like right by each other. So, and it's easy. To be honest with you, it's easier to bring the Tijuana guys than it is from Mexico City because they'd fly from San Diego.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's a lot easier to work with that. I'm trying to work a lot with like national guys too. Like we brought in Gino Medina from Houston. Probably working with some of the guys from Texas and stuff. There's a guy we bring in from Los Angeles, Rey Leon. He's a really good worker. I mean, he's at the level of like these top guys. He just hasn't gotten the exposure. He's actually going to do his first IWRG show on December 25th in Mexico City. So stuff like that. And another project we have is starting to get our guys down there. We just had Cody Jones and Golden Dragon at Vanguardia in Mexico. They used to be the old DTU guys. Now they have started their own promotion. But we work with a few of them, so I got a good relationship with them. So a lot of guys start working with them. We really want to not focus on the up-and-coming guys, but do a lot more with up-and-coming guys, kind of like what we used to do.
Sure.
Like, you know, I still have a poster back there that I saved where we had on one card Mustafa Ali, DJ Z, Ricochet, Mecha Wolf, and Kallisto. All these guys were on the Galli card like in 2009. Wow. Like we have the poster. Like that's the stuff that like excites me. These guys that like kind of used Galli as a platform. I never say they started. We weren't the reason they got there, but we were one of the platforms that helped them get them there. That's the way I like to look at it.
Yeah, just like the Flip Bros.
Yeah. Yeah. They. I still like. I want to kill myself and no because like we had to cut budget at Galli Mania because I don't know if you know the show was supposed to be in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin.
Okay.
But the week before, the governor shut down and said, don't go out. It wasn't reinforced, but it was too much of a risk to go to another state.
Right.
And they were on the card, and I had to cut them off because I needed to cut back on guys because we went from being able to have 300 fans to 50. And then I think 2 weeks later they got signed or something. That was cool. Like I actually had chatted with Airwolf last week and congratulated him and everything. They're really nice guys. But it was cool. It's cool to see them on the big stage.
Yeah, it is, and I was so excited to see them. We had seen them in Galli and AEW, and
Yeah, they were starting to become regulars, and well, this happened, so it's good for them. You know,
Right,
I'm
right.
glad it happened.
Sure.
When I see the guys like go on to big things, it's awesome. And I also love the guys that actually come back. I mean, like Mustafa Ali right now, he's really busy. But the little time he was a little like they weren't keeping him busy, he'd actually show up and train with the guys.
Oh,
He
okay.
still give
Nice.
he loves giving back.
Nice.
I would get a relationship with him. Like that's what makes me like what do you call it? That makes me proud when the guys do like that. I feel really good. Like even DJ Z when he was in TNA and stuff, you'd see him here training 2 or 3 days a week with the guys.
Definitely.
You know, guys and stuff like that. Like Mecca Wolf, you know, he's not like on one of the big companies, but you'll see him all over Mexico and different places. He still comes and says, you know, Galli was one of my homes. You know, that's what a lot of people don't get. To me, it's not just you have to be a good wrestler, treat the fans right, and be yourself in the locker room.
Right.
That's my thing. Like I told you, there's certain guys that we brought in there. I'm not gonna like cause myself any trouble with anybody, but they've been dicks in the locker room. We won't bring them back.
Right. I got you. And then if someone wants to train with you under Galli Lucha Libre or the Galli Studio, rather, you know, talk about
like
that.
we kind of have like different guys training now, which is kind of cool. We have a kids class on Mondays and Tuesdays for like basically like 15 and under, down to like 12, 11-year-old. And then we have like our little core group that I was still calling students up to recently, but they've been in here like 3 years now. And then we have beginners coming in, and then the guy, once they get to a certain level, they actually can train with like Charlie, with Gringo, and all the other guys. We kind of take them by levels.
Okay.
And we like to have guest trainers. That kind of stopped because of the pandemic. Like we've had Felino. Skyda was a trainer for Galli for years. Discovery, who passed away, was the trainer for 5 years. We basically have training almost every day of the week. So Mondays and Tuesdays for like the young kids. Later in the afternoon, Tuesdays and Thursdays is for like if you've already done wrestling. Wednesdays, one of the guys works a lot more with the guys that want to work a little faster, you know, do rope work and stuff. So, but if they want to come, they just call Galli or they could hit me up on inbox me as Carlos Galli on Facebook, or they can call the number on the flyers, on the posters, and we'll get them set up. You know, we'll try to work with everybody's level.
Definitely. And then how excited are you for that next show to happen? Like, tell everybody why they should come check it out.
Well, I mean, other than you're going to get a great show from Galli. There's a guy from Atlanta coming. His name's Vadi Morales. He's really good. He's been here before, but he's like he can work American and Mexican style. He's a really good guy. He's been calling out Rey Fuego because he's a current undisputed champ.
Okay.
So that should be a great match. You got Arrow Boy, who everybody loves. Everybody tells me, why you keep bringing Arrow Boy? People keep coming to watch him. He's a great guy, but I mean, it's not like some people tell me, it's like, wasn't it boring to watch the same guys? Like every legit company has their core guys, and he became one of our core guys. And then Sikosa's his debut. That's going to be cool. It's always cool to see a guy for the first time in our ring.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. So, you know, I can't tell you to come out because honestly, there's not going to be any seating.
Right.
Just watch it online. We'll be on Facebook Live. We'll probably be on Tough. There's a good chance it'll be on Fight TV. I don't know if we're starting in January with them, but it's coming on Fight TV. I expect everybody to, you know, you're going to get a great show. That's all I can tell you. I mean, if you haven't seen Bandolero, he does some crazy stuff. Gringo Local, people love him in Chicago. I think he's loved at every company except Galli.
Gringo,
Just because of his gimmick. What else can I tell you? I mean, just come on out. You're going to see great things in Galli. Right. We have a vacant title, the Gladiadores title, so we're trying to get that tournament going, but we're holding off until we can actually, when we know we can run.
Right.
Right now, every show is like to be determined.
Wow.
January 17th is already set up. We'll probably end up just streaming whether we have fans or not, but the whole idea is to get to the point where we can actually have people for the title. One of the cool things we did at Galimania, we presented the Discovery title. We used to have it used to be called the Classic title. Discovery was our trainer for years, passed away. Now that the title has his name.
Nice.
The plate itself is like an image of his mask. And you'll see a thing where he's got a guy in a hold. It's actually Bryce Benjamin, because that was one of his favorite matches. He had a one-on-one with him. So that was a match he would always talk about. And that move was one of the big moves that he did with him. So it's like on the belt.
Yeah.
It's really, that's more of a sentimental belt. But that was cool. We presented new belts on Galli Mania, which was a cool thing. We've had pretty good belts in the past, but none of them really symbolized like our stuff.
Right.
My son actually helped design like the main belts, and that was pretty cool. And one of our students, now he's not one of our students anymore. He's one of our guys now. Manny Cortez actually designed the Discovery belt, which was cool. So those were the first time we actually had belts that were like made by us or designed by us. So that was really cool.
Well, we're excited to see, Galli Mania moving forward, and tell the fans out there how they can follow you guys and stream.
Well, check us out on Facebook. Go to Galli Lucha. You can follow me as Carlos Galli. Also check out luchatv.com, luchalibre.chicago.com. They actually go over to the same page, but for some people it's easy to remember. Even though it's longer, it's easy to remember, luchalibre.chicago.com. It'll have all the events, the streaming, past events. One of the things we're trying to work on is Galli Retro. Now my son is working for me full time, so he's going to be really going to the Galli library.
Oh, nice.
And finding some of the old stuff and start posting it. That's one of the plans. We kind of forgot. I went a whole few years without like actually really posting videos.
Okay.
So that's going to be his job in 2021 to go through some of the old stuff and find some gems, maybe find old matches of Mustafa Ali, find matches the guys don't remember, or even matches of some guys maybe you never heard of, but they were good.
Definitely.
We had a great run at the Addison Park District. Nick H., I don't know if you know who he is, like he was doing our play-by-play in camera. He used to call it the Galli Dome. Hopefully you haven't gotten to try them yet. Everybody hypes about the Galli hot dogs. They're basically bacon-wrapped hot dogs.
Nice.
He actually, the guy, Nick H. actually named them. He started calling them the Galli dogs on his show.
Awesome.
You got to come out for the Galli dogs. And it's funny, a lot of guys are like, I'm only coming for the Galli dogs. Well, we can't cook right now.
I know.
With the pandemic, we're not allowed to do anything.
True.
We're lucky to run shows. But all I can tell you guys, check us out, Lucha TV, luchalibre.chicago.com. We're on Roku now. We're on Fire TV now.
Right.
Basically, every platform out there, you can check us out. There's a few Galli shows on IWTV.
Right.
And moving forward, Fight TV. So I don't know what else I can bring to the table. Just check, keep checking us out. You'll definitely probably see us show up every month at least.
Yes.
I'm knock on wood. Hopefully, like the government will.
I know.
Well, not the government. Let's hope this stuff comes down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame the government. People are getting sick. My son just had COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I went through it really bad in April. So.
Yeah, it's just tough.
I think sooner or later, I hate to be the one to say it this way, and I've heard it from other people. I think we're just going to have to get used to having that disease out there, just like the flu and everything else.
Yeah.
Just take care of ourselves and watch it. Hopefully, we'll be able to get off masks, sometime in 2021.
Yeah, true. And then I was just thinking also, I was hearing the podcast of Eddie Guerrero on Something to Wrestle With, the 15-year anniversary.
Oh, no. Yeah. I still choke up when I see it. One of the main guys that made me watch wrestling was Eddie. I stopped watching wrestling for years.
Oh, wow.
When I was younger. And I forgot one night I was just flipping channels, and I went to TBS and I saw, I wasn't following wrestling at all. So out of the blue, I just switched to wrestling because I saw it was on TBS, and I saw Eddie Guerrero coming down the ramp. I'm like, what the hell is he doing here? Then I started seeing Rey Mysterio, Psicosis, and what's going on? And so basically what I wanted to, what I kind of played with when I was a kid is now happening on WCW. Let me check it out. Right. And that was the NWO era, which was big, and that's how I got back into watching wrestling.
Yes.
But Eddie Guerrero was he was my top wrestler. This day, me and this other guy joke around whenever his anniversary comes around. We're both like,
oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. Actually, like I said, I don't mark out a lot. But I'm gonna be honest with you. When I met his daughter, Shaw, I actually told her oh man, I was a big fan of your dad. I was telling her all the stories.
I think she's resigned in Chicago too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love having her on a show.
Okay, yeah, have you had her on?
No, I met her because she came to train.
Okay.
But I've never had her on a show. I'd love to have her on a show.
Yeah, she's starting to be active now. She's already booked for another promotion that I had an interview with the promoter with.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I know that she's gonna. Hopefully she's gonna be working. I hope to have her.
She's wrestling Diana Perrazzo.
Okay.
Global Syndicate Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. There's some good girls out there like right now, like Elena Black, Sky. I'd like to see Shaw work. To be honest with you, I've never seen her work.
Yeah, me neither.
But I mean, I think there could be a good, really women's run in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have Shimmer too. And
yeah.
the
Well, the thing is with Shimmer, nothing against Shimmer, but they're only here, every 3 months?
Yeah, only like twice a year.
Yeah, I'd like to see it like consistently, even with different companies.
Yeah, hopefully you'll have that opportunity.
Now with Tessa being independent, you know that. Well, I mean, I don't know how long she's gonna be independent. I think she's gonna be getting signed sooner or later. She's just good. But we want to do that. You know, sooner or later. We haven't had a women's division in years. We have a few students, but they're not ready to do the step up yet.
Yeah, I know you had supposed to have Christy Janes come, but unfortunately
she got hurt right before that show. Yeah. Well, that would have been cool because that was actually Galli Mania last year.
Yes.
She was supposed to be on the show. Shotzi, that was one of Shotzi's last shows.
Shotzi, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of her last shows. We have this girl. She's a bigger girl, Lady Tigres. She's really coming along, but I think the pandemic came, and right when she came back to train, she almost broke her ankle, so she was out. So she's trying to get back into it.
Right.
I mean, she's been working some of the shows, but you can tell she's still like slow getting back into shape and everything because of the injury, you know. Having an ankle injury as a wrestler is not the best thing.
Sure.
And then not wrestling for 3 months. So she was out for 6-7 months, so it's going to take her a while. But if she can get back into the groove, I see her wrestling some of these, really good girls in the Chicagoland area and maybe from other places. Yeah, Chrissy Jane is definitely on the map. We're talking to a couple girls from Tijuana, and different. There's a lot of good girls out there. I kind of missed the boat on Kylie when she was around, because there wasn't that many girls around. And I used to be. I'm going to say this publicly. I used to be opposed to intergender matches, but the way they've been evolving. Is I've kind of changed my stay on that, and
really?
that kind of screwed me up when Kylie was around, because I was like, oh, there's not any girls for you to wrestle, and I'll openly say it, I screwed that one up.
Yeah, you could have had it with Bryce.
We had Bryce, we had a bunch of good guys back then,
Sure.
But I guess you can't catch everything.
What was one match that caught your eye that intergender works like?
Well, I saw Kylie work at freelance a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I want to say she's the one that kind of changed my mind on that concept. And I was at the one with, I still call it TNA, Impact, with when Tessa did the X Division.
Yes.
I was at that match, and I mean, she just went all out.
Yeah, definitely.
She's definitely very good. And I've seen Elena work guys and done really good.
Yeah.
There's a few girls that can really work. Actually, sometimes I think they work a little better because they seem to be, how do you call it, more confident to do crazy stuff. Because some of the guys are stronger. I don't know, but some of these girls can really work.
Definitely. And then I was also going to suggest you have Paloma Star, great veteran.
Oh, Paloma's been doing
she does everything.
Yeah, she does everything. I want to tell you something about Paloma. She's great as far as loyal. No, she gets the fans started calling her this joke name. It's a comedian girl, but they gave her that name, and just as soon as she comes out, she doesn't have to say nothing, and she gets the crowd going. But the funny thing happened at was it at last show? No, the show at Galli Mania. Cody Jones wrestled Aeroboy 1-on-1. The biggest pop of the night was when Aeroboy took out Paloma with the tope.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. We had Muy Muertes that night, Drago, Aerostar, Aramis, and the biggest pop of the night was when Aeroboy took out Paloma. But that's the kind of heat she gets. And it's like what I thought, there's cheap heat and there's good heat.
Yeah.
When you get heat because you're just an asshole, anybody can swear at a fan and piss them off. But when you get natural heat just because of your character, and she's getting that, that's that's one of the things that I love about Paloma, because she's been so loyal and been here because Cody's been here. He's one of the most loyal guys I have. But I wasn't using Paloma a lot.
Right.
But she just kept getting over as a manager.
Right.
Now we've been having her work matches. and just the natural heat she gets is just amazing.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot.
Yeah, it's like,
the Galli Mania last year.
yeah, no, she just gets she knows how to work a crowd. It's just something about her, and then she can work guys and she can work girls, and like she never complains. Like I could have her working a rookie one night, and she's like, all right, you know, we'll put on a great match, and anybody who does that to me is on my good level.
Right.
I bring back Noriega was in our company for a long time, Puerto Rican. He was a big star in Puerto Rico. One time I told him, I said, hey, Noriega, I need you to work the first match with a rookie. And don't worry, Papi, I can make a broom look awesome. That's nice. That attitude to me is like amazing. Like if you don't complain about who you're working and then still put on a 5-star match, that to me is that's a top of the line wrestler. Yeah. I asked one of the top girls in Chicago to work. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to spoil it. Right. And the first thing she said, oh, you want me to work your students? Like I'm coming to you to ask you to come wrestle, and you're willing to work my students. That tells me something about you. For sure. Yeah. Because you know, a lot of the guys that are like the top guys, you tell them they're working a rookie, they're like, oh shit. That's one of the things. You want to impress me, make a rookie look good. Right. You know, have a great match with somebody who's not there yet. That was one of the great things. I like to bring up a lot of guys, like Mason Conrad had that. I want to say GPA has it. Bryce, like Noriega said, he can wrestle a broom and make it look good. That's the type of guys like. Right now we have certain guys like Golden Star. Golden Star he's been around Galli forever, but until he turned heel, I don't think anybody appreciated him. Right. Now he's wrestling all the top Mexico guys. People start looking at him, you know, guys like that. Bandolero, I think, needs to get out more, but he just does crazy stuff. With the one time he flew off the bathrooms over here when we were in the original arena, I think he has like 400,000 views or something. Oh, wow. That was just, sometimes he does stuff that I just think is beyond crazy, but that's it. And one of the things that we hope to get back to the theater, Talia Hall, I lost it for a second there. Yeah. The last show, the one in February, got canceled, right? It was actually March. Oh, okay, March. And the show was close to sold out. Oh man. We had it was Aramis, Michael Elgin, Messias, and Tauros on that card, along with all the Galli guys, and that show was probably going to be like one of our top selling shows ever. And it was like the week before, that's when we got the shutdown. Yes. I remember that show. I was actually going to come by for that one. I was sad. Yeah, but I mean, that's our plans. One of the things you're going to see Galli in 2021, you're going to see us in different states now. Okay. Or you got something set up in Iowa, something set up in Wisconsin. Nice. I mean, within driving distance. We're not going to go crazy. I'm going to be honest with you. We got offered to run Oklahoma, Atlanta. What was the other one? Omaha. We will go to Omaha. We've done Omaha before. I mean, up to 10 hours I'll drive. That's as far as I'll drive. Actually, we ran a show in Bakersfield, California 3 years ago. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, just it's a great place. I wouldn't mind running again. The only thing the guy I worked with was a little. I'm not gonna badmouth him just to say I still haven't gotten paid. Oh wow. But that's part of wrestling. Some shadiness out the west. Shadiness. I'm not gonna say shady. Just if you don't have the money to run a show, don't run it. Right. That's the way I look at it. You know, I'm not going to shit on people that don't have money for some reason, because I run into issues. The thing is, I have the reputation where if I have to tell guys to, like, you know, running low on this, they'll know they'll get paid. It's not like some promoters that run a show, don't have the money to pay it, and then you never see them again. Right. With me, they know they're going to see me next month no matter what. Right. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, well, I'll never do that. I'll never shit on somebody for not having money because somebody tried to do it to me. Kind of humiliate me because he had more money than me. Well, that guy never had the balls to run a show. I said, okay, maybe I only have $100, but I can spend it. Right, definitely. Well, Carlos, I appreciate you, man. Anything else you have to say? I just keep going. I'm sorry. No, you're fine. You're fine. Thanks for having me again. That's all I can tell you. Anytime you want to come out or have me today, I really appreciate you guys coming out here. Oh, it's been a pleasure. But like I said, watch us on luchatv.com, luchalibrechicago.com, Galli Lucha. We used to have the page Lucha Libre Chicago on Facebook, but It's just too many pages
Right.
to try and run. I'm trying to focus on one. Right now, actually, we have Galli Lucha and Galli Lucha Libre, because when I started Facebook, I was Galli Lucha Libre, but then they figured out that's not a real name,
Right.
and they converted my page to a business page. So I ended up with 2 business pages.
Oh, okay, that's what happened.
Yeah, so I'm trying to merge them, which is really dumb because you're supposed to be like, what else do you want? It's the same name, same content, and they're like, it doesn't fit the guidelines to be a similar page. Like, how much similar can you have? The only difference is one says Galli Lucha Libre and the one says Galli Lucha.
Right.
But I've been trying to merge them for the last year. They won't let me.
Wow.
But just check us out on all the pages. Like I said, you'll find some shows on Roku. I'm trying to get Roku caught up. I think I'm almost caught up. I think I got it up to Galli Mania.
Okay.
You can check us out. Another thing we're looking into pretty soon, we're probably going to have on our own Amazon channel. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, trying to get out there as most as possible. That's one of the things that actually worked for me on the pandemic, just to finalize, because we couldn't do anything. I finally got caught up on a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so that was it. You know, so that was one of the few perks of the pandemic. It let me straighten my thoughts out.
Right, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
thanks a lot, everybody.
Oh,
Thank you.
pleasure.
And,
Anytime.
Whenever you want to do something, come out to a Galli show. You know the doors are open to you.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely invite you guys to come to our studio too, in
Yeah.
Lombard. And if you want to bring any talent, any wrestlers in town, you know,
Yeah.
or anybody else, you guys are welcome anytime.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Anytime, brother. Take
right.
care.
All right.
Galli Lucha Libre, check it out January 17th, Fight TV.
Fight
Hopefully,
TV.
yeah, and
Fight TV and Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously we don't know about the update with the live crowd, but we'll
No,
we'll give
even
it
with
updates.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, there won't be any tickets. If
Right,
they allow
right.
us, it's gonna be limited to like 40 people, and
Right,
those tickets
right.
are already.
Right. You got your regulars.
Those 40 loyalists that are there every
Yes.
Sunday, regardless, they get the seats first.
Oh, that makes sense. Like season ticket holder. you
They're
know?
basically season ticket holders.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
basically who
yeah.
they are.
For sure. And check us out. And we love checking out Galli Lucha Libre. So many great memories.
Yeah.
So many great stars that came through there and are
Yeah.
still coming through. So
Yeah, well,
should
that's
be
the
fun.
plan. Let's keep building.
Yeah, I mean the Mexican wrestling scene is so amazing. Just how many wrestlers come from all the Latin American countries and how they obviously unify, make this work.
Right.
It takes a lot of time, effort. Obviously planned by you as well.
Thanks a lot.
Anytime.
All right.
Take care.